Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 4 of the 814 Sports Report. That's Logan Lepiscopo. I'm Chris Sohl. Logan, it's been a long offseason for a lot of MLB fans, maybe not for Dodgers fans, of course. They're coming off back-to-back World Series, and they've enjoyed this time. But the MLB season is back. We had opening night on Netflix with the New York Yankees taking down the San Francisco Giants. Aaron Judge doing what he does best, striking out 4 times. We'll get to that in a little bit. But all 3 of our regional teams in action at the time of this recording. The Guardians have not played yet, but the Pirates and Tigers getting things done. A lot of great baseball played, a lot of highlights, a lot of wonky scoreboards, stuff all over the place. But I want to start with one thing, and I think it's a trend that you and I have discussed a couple of times. A lot of the players for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic struggling on opening night. As I mentioned, Aaron Judge had a pretty lackluster tournament, I think, for most. Struck out in some big moments, didn't play well against Venezuela. And against the Giants, the Yankees offense comes through. They score 7 runs, don't allow anything. But Judge goes 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts. I think he's second in the MLB in strikeouts. That includes pitchers, by the way. And Logan Webb, that is, struggling for the Giants. He got yanked after 5 innings, 9 hits, 7 runs against. And, of course, Paul Skeens with maybe, Logan, the worst start of his young career so far.
Yeah, to think that you would get a 2-run homer in the top of the first.
Run support for Paul Skeens, Pirates fans. Look at this and what happens.
He gives up 5 runs in the bottom of the first and is yanked before finishing that bottom frame, which is crazy. I'm sure there were bets out there how long Paul Skeens would go. If you would
the nerfy bettors out there not happy. No run in the first inning. They were not happy after that.
Not at all. But if you would have told me Paul Skeens didn't get out of the first inning of opening day,
especially with a lead, something he never had. Brandon Lau hits a home run. Yeah. He goes. And by the way, did you see their new home run celebration? What a tribute to the Steel City of Pittsburgh. They have a welding mask. That Brandon Lau runs into the dugout, puts this welding mask on. Pirates fans are finally like, the curse is over. We're making the playoffs. We got our ace. We have an offense now. Brandon Lau hit 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, and then Paul Skeens with a duff. But how much of it, Logan, was his fault versus the center fielder, O'Neill Cruz's fault?
O'Neill Cruz might be the most hated man in Pittsburgh right now. I understand. The sun is shining. Why are we not prepared for the sun to be shining?
Brother, we got sunglasses that are playing you music, that can look things up from the internet. You're telling me you don't got glasses good enough to block out the sun?
Which would be great if he had those metas that could record, so you could see what he was seeing when he dropped that pop fly and when he completely misjudged the other one. But yeah, you obviously got to place some blame on Paul Skeens, but that's horrendous fielding from a center fielder that's been in the league for a few years now, knows the run of the mill. Those should be routine plays for a guy his size in center field.
He's a freak athlete. And listen, O'Neill Cruz is a good player. He's a good young player, but again, you're in the major leagues, right? It's opening day, and I know it's game 1 of 162. How much this will affect the standings, we'll never know. But opening day in baseball is America's pastime, right? The most historic sport. Opening day has this sort of mantra around it, this energy, this excitement, this fresh start, and to make an impression like that, definitely a little shaken. Yeah, Paul Skeens was not great. I think he let up 4 hits. He wasn't sharp. He walked a guy. But the offense for Pittsburgh, I think that's one thing you can maybe hang your hat on.
Oh, for sure.
Don Kelly in the postgame talking about, they hung in there, they fought hard, and they did score late, but that game was over pretty quickly after Paul Skeens gets yanked. They go through a lot of bullpen arms. But again, Pirates last in the majors, I believe, last year in offense. They scored 7 runs, something they didn't do a whole lot last year, and they had run support. Fluky performance by Paul Skeens. I think O'Neill Cruz is going to be better about that. Fluke play, whatever. You got to be locked in an outfield, and you got to get a good pair of shades.
99 out of 100 days, the Pirates win that game if Paul Skeens pitching with 7 runs. Any other day, you score 7 runs and Skeens is on the bump, you're probably winning that game.
You're winning that game 9 times out of 10. And listen, the bullpen
gives up 8+ runs, which we've seen.
But the
Pirates,
Pirates in the second half of last year had one of the best pitching staffs. They were actually a solid team in the second half, and they had one of the best pitching staffs. And obviously, can't discredit the Mets. I mean, they have a loaded lineup, obviously. Francisco Lindor,
all that moolah they spend.
Juan Soto, Bo Bichette, they took him from the Toronto Blue Jays. All right. Not a great start for the Pirates, but the Detroit Tigers. They come out guns a-blazing, 8-2 win over the San Diego Padres, who many think is one of the better teams in the NL. But Logan, our boy, the number 2 prospect in baseball. Talk about making a first impression. Kev McGonigal, 4 of 5, 2 singles, 2 doubles, few runs batted in. Does it get any better than that?
No. It just
That's
doesn't.
it. That's for sure.
No, show is over. That's it. No, I mean, it's like first time going to your lady's house to meet the parents. Firm handshake, great grip. You pull out her chair at the table. Whatever you got to do to make the great first impression. Maybe you're the same favorite team as her dad. Boom. You nailed it. That's what Kevin McGonigal just did.
He was fantastic.
My
and listen,
goodness.
Logan, we had the pleasure of watching this young man last year. Great guy to talk to, but so much power, so much intensity, and a lot of people critical of his defense, but the numbers don't lie, and that bat don't lie.
Yeah, you're not going to get the 4 for 5 every single game that he's out there, but he certainly just proved why he made that jump from 2A to the show. 100% proved it. And Sunday Sports Blitz, for those that don't know, we do pre-record the show. Breaking news there. But we talk about on there that patch, that jersey is going to be in some 1-of-1 trading card.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be worth a ton of money in a few years.
It's unbelievable to make one of the greatest opening day performances, period, especially of recent memory. But for a rookie to do that, coming from AA to the majors, is really impressive. We also spoke with Zach Serdenik, the new voice of the Erie Seawolves, and he talks about just in terms of taking this job, he worked in Lakeland last year in single A for the Tigers. But when you look at the Tigers' current lineup, 7 of 9 guys right there are from Erie, and he talks about just how special it is to work for a team like this, be the voice of a team that produces so much major league talent and has such an impressive fan base. So shout out to all of our listeners who are Seawolves fans. It's a great atmosphere. Opening day for the Seawolves is coming up in a little while. Yeah. That'll be exciting as well.
I think it's funny because when I first got to Erie, I'm not a huge baseball guy. We discussed this on our last episode. I had no idea the Erie Seawolves were, number one, the 2A affiliate, but literally right in the city. So to know
3-minute walk from my apartment.
To know that Skubal, Torkelson, now McGonigal,
Riley Green,
like to know all those names were once 10 minutes down the road from Erie News Now in the heart of Erie, like that's just so crazy to imagine that we a few months ago were covering a guy that went 4 for 5 in his opening day. Like it's crazy to see that.
It's one thing to see Kevin McGonigal hit a ball into State Street, and it's another to see him hit it out of the park at Comerica Park. So congratulations to Kevin, an incredible opening day performance. All right, at the time of this recording, once again, it's pre-recorded. We have not seen the Guardians play yet against the Mariners, but Logan, a very scrappy lineup. They obviously had that incredible run last year, ultimately falling to the Tigers. A couple guys on that throughout that lineup that are dangerous, right? You got your Jose Ramirez's, right, and your Steven Kwans, of course, but maybe not a true ace on the mound, but a team, Logan, that made a historic playoff push last year.
Yeah, I think if you are Cleveland this year, you can't have that slow start. Yes, you turned it up, you got to the postseason.
But it took a miracle. I mean, I remember being at that game talking about that July stretch's 15-game winning streak. Like, you can't, that's not going to happen again.
Yeah, and if it does, good for them.
Right.
Great for you if it happens again. But I just...
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you.
Yeah, I mean, like we were talking before, it's the Tigers' AL Central to lose. Yeah. If they lose, it's just because Cleveland had an incredible year start to finish, not just midway, 3/4 of the way to finish.
If you look on paper, it should be the Tigers' division to win. They're well coached, well managed. They have a great lineup. They have... If Paul Skeens is not the best pitcher, well, then I think you say it's probably Tarek Skubal. Yeah. They have a true ace. a guy who shows up, who strikes out 13 in playoff games and can win you a Game 7, something that Cleveland doesn't have. All right, let's go from baseball to the hardwood. Logan, Gannon men's basketball continues, and unfortunately, we're recording this before their Final Four appearance, the first since 1987. Logan, I was in Pittsburgh for Michigan Tech, but before we get to that, you had an incredible story looking back at that 1987 team that went to the Final Four. Talk to me, what was it like talking to those players and getting an insight on that incredible run?
Well, the first thing before I get into all the nitty-gritty and the true history of that, you got to ask. We got the Jordan-LeBron debate. If this team played this team, who would win? So I asked
Different
them.
eras, folks. Good conversations are overrated.
1987 Gannon versus 2026 Gannon. Who wins? Well, I got running clock, if such existed, in college basketball in favor of the 87 team.
Of course, the homers. What are they going to say? We'd lose to these guys.
I got another 87 player, 10 to 12 point win for the old guys.
Respect. All right, Easton, respect. Little respect there.
But our Mike Ruzzi went with the guys now.
Wow. Somebody who's covered both.
Yes,
so
he
that's
said
important to know.
He said it's going to come down to defense in that game. And he said that this Gannon defense is absolutely incredible. But that 87 team, I mean, those guys, they still relish in those days when Gannon basketball was the thing in downtown Erie. No Seawolves, no Otters. It was Gannon basketball, Saturday nights. They mentioned lines would be, all the way down to 9th Street. I don't know if they still play where like the Highmark's at. I don't know where the old place is at. But
line out the door. You don't see that.
Line out the door.
Gannon fans are great. Gannon fans are great. They travel really well. One of the best in the country. But just to hear what it was like back then.
Yeah, and Mike told a great story. One of the players did as well. 8 a.m. People would be in line to get into a Gannon basketball game. And they said that the head coach of that 87 team would be out giving coffee and donuts to the fans waiting in line. Like that's just incredible to see how much the basketball team really gave into the community supporting them. But, they talked about that run and winning their Final Four game to play in the national championship called by Dick Vitale. Like, when they said that to me, I couldn't even imagine ESPN coming to Erie for a Division II basketball game with not even arguably one of the best voices ever in basketball. Like, that was crazy to me. But they almost never made it to that national championship game. They were down 14, 15 points at one point, clawed their way back, and ended up coming out on top. But it was great to talk with them, pick their brains, learn a little bit about what it was like playing Gannon basketball back then. And, as you mentioned, we're recording this before the game. You'll be watching, hopefully, before the game. If not, you'll know the end result if they're going to Indianapolis or if they're coming back home. But, Chris, you were there for the Elite Eight game, and what a defensive performance. Under 50 points they held Michigan Tech to.
Well, Logan, you mentioned the 87 team having a claw back, being down double digits and getting the win. Gannon was up double digits from their 11-2 run and on. It was well, that's only 9 points. I'm not a math guy. But they were up double digits for, I would say, 90% of that game. Yeah. Completely shut down. And let's not forget, this is not just this is an Elite Eight game against Michigan Tech, who's the number 16 team in the country. They possess one of the most dynamic scorers in the country, averaging over 21 points a game. They shut him down. Michigan Tech started the game 1 of 15 from the field. And yeah, they had some looks, they missed some open shots, but it speaks to the pedigree of what Coach Pizzoli has done with this defense. Yeah. We've talked all year long, the pace, the conditioning. They are an incredible unit put together. They're all bought in. But I think what's so impressive is all of the guys have the same mentality. It's not like you got, just the guards. All 5 guys on the floor are playing full court defense, shutting teams down. Michigan Tech, I think, had 3 or 4 10-second violations in the first half. And, when we're speaking to the Michigan Tech coaching staff after the game, they're mentioning we have played presses before, but we have not seen something like Gannon yet.
Yeah, and what I think is so impressive is where we are right now in college basketball, NIL, transfer portal. Everybody's chasing a little bit of moolah. They had a lot of guys leave from last year's team and brought back in. Obviously, you're in a better spot than you were last year. You brought in Precious Idiaru. You brought in the Morgan brothers, Pace Prosser. You can't say enough good things about that kid. Really, their lineup, you got Victor Desmond, Pace Prosser, Lucas Sakasi, Lane Sarver. Those are, off the top of my head, the 4 names that are back from last year. And they've been excellent. The way that Easton Bozzoli has worked the portal from first year taking over to now second year, it's just the turnaround Gannon had in the past 3 or 4 years is spectacular.
You were talking about how they were a 3-win team just a couple of years ago. Here they are with 30-plus wins. And I think what really stuck out to me in the press conference was, number one, despite the fact Gannon averages almost 95 points a game, one of the best offenses in the country. But every time I talk to Coach Bozzoli, the first thing he mentions is we're one of the most dynamic defensive units constructed. We can guard 1 through 5. They can play man. They can play zone. And I was just speaking about how all these guys are bought into the system, but the relationship beyond basketball is really impressive. You mentioned Precious coming in, Precious Idiaru, an incredible player for them. He talked about how special it's been to be on this team, not just for the basketball, but he said he's having fun for the first time in years. He transfers in, not having that much fun at his prior school. And
we won't put the name on blast. Do your own research if you want to know.
But here he is coming into Gannon, and he's part of this basketball family that's so much more about playing defense and scoring points. It's a brotherhood. There's a special bond with Gannon basketball right now.
Yeah, you mentioned Precious at his old school. He told me before the Elite Eight, it might have even been before the Sweet 16, the lock in the Atlantic Regional, he said to me that, this time of year, he's done playing basketball typically. So he said that was one of his big points, was knowing he had a chance to play for a national title. But we mentioned the turnaround. Head coach Easton Bozzoli, he is a big reason why some guys have stayed. Pace Prosser said after their Elite Eight win, people come to Gannon to play for that guy.
Because they want to win.
They want to win. And look, you probably, at first, when Easton Bozzoli's hired, you're like, who is this super young guy that's just been an assistant coach, hopping in and taking over a program that turned from 3 wins to 30-plus? And Easton does not give himself enough credit.
It's a co-coach of the year, NABC poll. Like that, you don't just get given that.
He said after the game to you guys, I believe, in the Elite Eight, that he had no idea how he got the job. Or something along the lines of, like, he didn't think he should be in the position. If he's watching this, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Gannon fans watching, they got a guy. Like, he's got 2 beautiful young children in Erie. Like, I think he's a guy that stays. Like, I think he loves this community. And why go assistant coach at D1 school when you could be a national champion each and every year, a contender for a national championship every year at Gannon?
And the way they play, Logan, is just the buy-in, the conditioning, the camaraderie, the brotherhood. Like, he is going to get a lot of people that want to play for this team.
Oh yeah,
they're going to see the way they play. Gannon is not your stereotypical, stop and shoot threes, run the floor. They are aggressive. They're persistent. They are all over the place, almost chaotic in a sense, but controlled chaos.
Yep.
And it's a system of basketball that guys enjoy playing. As long as you're in shape, you can go out there and execute. So
definitely have to be in shape to play Gannon basketball.
All these guys are incredible athletes running up and down the floor. So hopefully they can get it done and get to the national championship. I will be there. I'll have live updates all across my Twitter account, all across our Facebook account at Erie News Now. I'll have live reports. So best of luck to Gannon as they look to put the cherry on top of this incredible season. All right, Logan, we got about 10 minutes left. It's that time of year. Baseball's starting. The NHL and NBA seasons getting into the playoffs now. So we'll start things off on the NBA. Talk to me a little bit about, I don't know if people know this yet, you're a bit of a Lakers fan. Talk to me about what we're seeing here with Los Angeles and Luka freaking Doncic, man.
Well, let's first address the elephant in the room. Why on earth is Logan a Lakers fan? So, no direct connection to Los Angeles. None at all. I grew up watching basketball. My mom is a basketball junkie. Like, her and I always go back and forth the LeBron-Jordan debate. But I grew up just watching the Lakers, like the Kobe, Pau Gasol, Derek Fisher, Ron Artest, Meta World Peace before he was Meta World Peace. Like that was the team I grew up watching. And so, yeah, I don't keep up with them as much, but you said Luka Doncic, single Luka Doncic, post-divorce. This guy's been on another level for the Lakers. And obviously, you have one of the greatest basketball player of all time in LeBron James.
That's gonna piss so many people.
Yeah, that's gonna ruffle some feathers. But look, the West is insane. I mean, the Thunder, they won last year, ran it back with the same roster, plus pieces. You got the Spurs, who are looking good with Victor Wembanyama. The West is they're gonna be pretty good. I think, and I hate to be like, oh, obviously it's going to be either the West or the East. I think whoever wins the West wins the NBA title again.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Luka, I just saw this today. They had a 6-game road trip. He averaged over 40 points per game. The last person to do that
averaging 40
was Michael Jordan. So
40.
Interesting debate. All right, I'm a Knicks fan. We'll look at the Eastern Conference. I think the East runs through 4 teams, right?
Let's hear it.
We have our regional team, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
James Harden was a great ad, by the way.
People have not talked about that enough. I feel like every night I'm cutting highlights. Here he is hitting a step back 3 at the end of a quarter. James Harden still got it, man. And really, since that 2019 season where it was, I've seen so many videos of like these guys talking about the 2019 Rockets and get in the corner. James Harden's on the floor. You're not doing anything. But his vision, his playmaking has taken leaps and bounds since that season. You got Donovan Mitchell playing at an MVP level. You got Jared Allen as your big. You got Evan Mobley. It's a great team. They were one of the best in the NBA last year for a reason. They're really good this year. Of course, you got the Detroit Pistons. They've had a phenomenal year.
My goodness, Cade Cunningham.
Wow.
The
The lung issue is concerning.
Yeah.
He's probably going to miss the rest of the regular season, but he is supposed to be back by early to mid-ish April, which should be in time for the playoffs. Boston Celtics, of course, somehow just coasted
Tatum's
all
back.
season long. Jaylen Brown, career year. I thought as a Knicks fan we'd finally be able to rid them. But here comes Jason Tatum off his Achilles injury. He's averaging a double-double. They're dangerous. And, of course, you got my New York Knicks. You got Jalen Brunson, who's phenomenal. Karl Anthony Towns is shutting up the haters right now. So I think the East runs through 4 teams. I'd say the Thunder and the Spurs are kind of in their own tier right now, just what they've been able to do. I mean, Wembanyama is a true unicorn. Yeah. He is a freak of nature on the basketball court. So impressive to watch him play. Obviously, you got SGA, whether you love him or hate him, the dude's a baller, he scores. So those 2 teams, I think, are kind of in their own peak. And then you kind of have the 4-ish Eastern Conference teams, and then you kind of have the rest of the West with the Lakers, the Rockets, and co. All right. NBA is interesting. I'm a big hockey guy. Logan, you not so much. But both of our regional teams are having really surprising seasons. The Buffalo Sabres, my goodness gracious, if there's any team that deserves what they're getting right now, it's Buffalo Sabres fans.
Yeah, like you said, I'm not the biggest hockey guy. In fact, I'm less of a hockey guy than a baseball guy, surprisingly enough.
Logan's here for football, so once we get to the fall, Logan will just do the show, and I'll just be his accomplice.
Yeah, so come draft time, just make sure you're tuned back in. I'll have a wealth of things to say. But whoever the Sabres coach is, he's got to be coach of the year, right?
Lindy Ruff is probably going to be the coach of the year, and I think for Sabres fans, it all goes back to Kevin Adams, the general manager. He gets fired December 9th. Since then, they've been unbeatable. They have. It has been, I don't know if they're eating a different pregame meal or something, but seriously, it has been 2 different seasons. They start off the year playing 500 hockey. They're 10-10 or whatever, and here they are, first place in the Atlantic Division. They're playing cohesively. Everybody talking about the J.J. Peterka trade in the offseason, and they have clearly won that trade. Josh Jones has a home there. Getting good goaltending. Tage Thompson, the U.S. gold medalist, is continuing to play really well. Rasmus Dahlin, of course, their captain, is playing really well. Turning into a bit of a grinder, Rasmus Dahlin, getting under people's skin, of course. Evgeny Malkin cross-checked him in the face a couple weeks ago. I saw that live. That was pretty funny. This Buffalo team, they're mean, they're scoring, they're defending. They are playing playoff-winning hockey right now.
How far into the playoffs could they go, though?
A lot of it's gonna
With the inexperience,
Logan, I know you're not a big hockey guy, but this turnaround, I haven't seen something like this in a long time. Just the fact that they're playing,
there's a chance.
There is a chance, and the Eastern Conference is good. It's better than a lot of people thought, but there's still a lot of parity. There's still a lot of standing changes as we're getting later into the season. But Buffalo's a real threat. If they play like this in the playoffs, they're a contender. Like, they are beating everybody, and they're beating everybody convincingly. They're blowing teams out. They're coming from behind and winning games. They've been really impressive. And another team with little expectations. In fact, a lot of insiders, NHL insiders, thought this would be the one team looking to not improve. Here they are, despite all of John Leidick's criticism, sitting in the playoffs. The Pittsburgh Penguins, with the Unk crew, you got Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Erik Karlsson, Chris Letang, all over 35 years of age, carrying this team as they sit in a playoff spot in the Metro Division.
Yeah, if you would have told me or even any Penguins fans that, you'd be sitting in a playoff position, you're happy. It's kind of like the Pirates. If you would, if the Pirates end up getting a postseason, you're going to be surprised. But
playing with house money at this point.
Yeah, like you said, you kept the core three together. I guess, in my opinion, looking at as an outsider that feels like a nostalgia move. Keep them along because the fans love them.
But they're still playing at an elite level. You got, Chris Letang has been a little shaky this year, but Erik Karlsson has won 3 Norris trophies as the best defenseman in the NHL, and he is playing some of his best hockey. Sidney Crosby has, once again, another point-per-game season. You just can't seem to get rid of Sid. And Evgeny Malkin, I don't know what Kyle Dubas is doing. Give this guy a contract. I don't care that he's 38 years old. He's been balling out, back from his suspension. Crosby's finally healthy. And listen, they're not guaranteed. Buffalo is in. The Sabres are, I can't see any, I don't mean to curse, because we know what Sabres fans have been through. But there's no way they miss. Pittsburgh still got to take care of some business, and they've been a little shaky. Actually, tonight, huge game against the Ottawa Senators, so that will be interesting to see how that plays out. But it's just cool to see a lot of our regional teams overall having successful seasons. The Cavs have done great. The Penguins, the Sabres have done great. I think the Tigers are going to have a great year. It's fun to see our teams, and hopefully Gannon as well. Can they get to a national championship? It's fun to be covering our teams when they're doing super well.
Well, we had the Bills, the Steelers make the postseason. Now we got the Cavs likely making it, probably being a pretty decent seed in the East. You mentioned Sabres, Pens, locally, Gannon. Just
means you and me get to go more places and cover cool games.
And even Mercyhurst, year 2 as D1, and they're in conference championships. That's absolutely incredible. And before we go real quick, got to give credit to the former Erie Otter, Matthew Schaefer, for his incredible rookie season he's been putting together. If you're not an Islanders fan, but you're an Otters fan, I know you've been keeping up, but he's been absolutely killing it.
If you're a hockey fan, if you're a sports fan, this kid, just from the second he was drafted, the incredible tribute the Islanders paid, all the adversity between the injuries, losing everything that this kid has been through to score. He probably has 23, 24 goals at this point. The youngest defenseman ever to 50 points. He's shattered records. He played 31 minutes the other night, which is over half the game. Played the final 3 minutes of that game. Probably should have been on Team Canada for the Olympics, but honestly, it's good for the Islanders that he wasn't, because now they're riding him all the way into the playoffs. So all of our athletes, all of the teams we cover have been so fantastic. Hopefully the weather can cooperate so we can see some of the great high school baseball around here.
Yes.
Maybe get some better fields, but we'll see what happens. Best of luck to Gannon moving forward. But that's been this week's episode of the 814 Sports Report. For Logan Lepiscopo, I'm Chris Sohl. We'll catch you in the next one.